What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. This is Black Lightning Season 1, Episode 3, LaWanda, the Book of Burial. So, I thought I'd try something a little bit different in this. Hopefully this works out. I've got a pause button on this tablet that I film on, and so I'm kind of wondering maybe I can go ahead and do a review for this episode, pause, watch the fourth one, come back and review that one. That way I can sort of stick to my watching 2 episodes at one time without missing too much information. And uploading 2 episode reviews at one time. So anyway, let's get right into this one. We start off with, in my opinion, the most interesting part of the show so far, and that is the Black Lightning dilemma. And that's the interesting thing about it, is that this show so far has been pretty good. You know, there have been a lot of good parts to it. The Black Lightning stuff is very interesting. There's just some things that drag it down a little bit. But the dilemma that he's going through is he's finally determined to himself that he does want to be Black Lightning to help people again. But at the same time, he's seeing the problems that it causes. You know, he's seeing that he's giving people hope, but it's like it's a hope to fight back and put themselves in danger, which is not what he wants. He wants to try to protect people. And so it's kind of a dilemma of, if he doesn't step up, the people are going to stay oppressed, and he can't have that. But if he does step up, then the people are going to feel hope, and then they're going to try to fight back and put themselves in the line of fire. And he doesn't want that either. And so it's kind of it's not an easy decision. It's very difficult for him. And I do like the fact that they're making it a difficult decision. It's not something that is so easy. It's just like, oh yeah, obviously I need to go be Black Lightning again. And of course I should. So I've enjoyed that part of it, and they've done a very good job with it. But anyway, there's a reverend who is speaking at LaWanda's funeral, and he's pretty much saying, it is time to step up, it's time to rise, and will you march with me against the 100? And everybody's just like, yeah, let's do it. And of course Jefferson's like, no. And so he ends up getting Henderson in, who is still very, very emotionless. There was a scene where he's sort of confronting the Reverend, and he's just like up in his face. He's like, what are you wearing, a $1,000 watch, and what are you wiping yourself with a $200 handkerchief while I'm sitting here as an inspector, and I don't have any of this stuff? I'm just like, that would have been a very intense scene if you had any intensity in your voice at all. I still don't understand why they chose him for this show. I don't understand how he gets picked if he doesn't inflect at all. But anyway, they try to talk the Reverend out of it. Jefferson has a little talk with him afterwards, and he's just like, no, I'm not going to step down. This is what I believe. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. So, yeah, this is pretty much what most of this episode is leading towards. But there are other little side stories, some of which are interesting. Actually, one of which is interesting. And then the others aren't. And here's the thing. The stuff that involves Jefferson and Black Lightning, that stuff is very interesting. The stuff that involves the mother or the 2 sisters is just not. It is so frustrating and cliche and just stupid. So first of all, let's talk about the mother. We see she, in this episode, wants to have Jennifer move in with her because she feels like she needs to be her mother again, and she thinks that Jefferson's not doing a good enough job because he's putting himself in the line of fire again. Just like I said in the last episode, it's very selfish of her. She is asking him to do something that benefits her. Why? Why is she so selfish? And it's the fact that Jefferson, like, yes, he does stand up to her in this episode and is like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that to me. But why do you still have feelings for her if every decision she's made so far in the show has just been completely for her? She wants you to stop being Black Lightning for her. She wants you to give up the daughters for her. She wants you to do this for her. None of it is about him and what he wants to do. And that's a problem, in my opinion. Any working relationship has to have the concerns of both people involved. It can't just be for one of them, because that's not a healthy relationship. And yet, Jefferson just sort of sticks by her side the entire time. And I'm like, dude, you don't deserve that. You need to go find a woman who's going to treat you right, who's going to ask about your concerns and not just care about herself. So, I don't know. I'm getting very frustrated with her. I feel like she's just not a well-written character, unless the whole point is that's eventually going to separate them even more. Is that selfish thinking. But anyway, onto the daughters. And unfortunately, Khalil, the guy that Jennifer was seeing in the last episode, that I was like, oh, he's just the stereotypical boyfriend that just pops, or the friend that wants to be a boyfriend that pops up out of nowhere. Oh, but he's not. Oh, he has a moment where he's very responsible. He wants to go to college and he doesn't want to ruin his life because he's gone through a lot and he wants to do his mother proud and do his father and his dead brother proud. I'm like, okay, he's actually an interesting character. Beginning of this episode, they're talking about having sex. Cliche. And here's the thing, it doesn't fit with that character I saw in the last episode. Because if you really do care about your future and trying to run and trying to make something for yourself and go to college, why would you even want to throw the possibility of a baby in the mix? That is, I understand, okay, they're gonna use protection, she's gonna use birth control. There's still a chance she might get pregnant. There is still a chance. And you're going to run that risk when you have this future you've got planned out for yourself? Like, I don't get it. It doesn't fit with his character that I saw in the last episode at all. And even worse, they're both lying to each other that, oh, apparently I've done this before. Oh, no, I just want to feel like I have. And she's like, I haven't either. I'm just like, who cares? Why are we talking about this? This is a superhero show. Why are we talking about two kids wanting to have sex and trying to ruin their lives in the process? And so, yeah, that's about a third of this episode. She talks to her parents about it, which I found kind of funny that they do have such an open communication line about this. I don't know, that doesn't seem like something I've ever seen before. Just his daughter comes up, hey, so I'm ready to have sex. I'm just like, do you know how high schoolers work? Because you don't seem to understand how high schoolers work. I don't think any high schoolers at all would just, even if they had this talk before, and she talks about how they wanted her to come to them with this whenever she felt like she needed to. But even then, like, as a high schooler, and so far what we've seen of her trying to be independent and on her own, and I don't need my parents for anything, none of that in her character makes me think, oh yeah, she'd definitely go tell her parents when she's ready to have sex. I don't feel that at all. So it's like this whole thing completely goes against both of their characters and just doesn't tie into anything. Like, the only thing that happens in this episode with them, aside from that, is Khalil gets hit with a stray bullet when the Reverend gets shot at the end, and it ends up paralyzing him. And of course, I hope they talk about him a bit more, because what happens? Oh, Jennifer's upset about it, and they start comforting her. I'm like, hang on, he's the one that was going to go to college on a running scholarship. I can't remember if it was track or cross country. He was the one that was, this is affecting his future. He won't be able to go to college on that scholarship anymore. He might still get some sort of, like, they might have something in plan for him to still go to college, even though he can't run anymore. But I don't know. It's just the way they treated it. It was like, oh, I'm so sorry, Jennifer. What about him? Why not go comfort him? They might in the next episode, but in this one it just kind of felt strange. But that's the only thing that happens there. The other sister, Anissa, she's been working on her powers a little bit more because she has a moment where she throws a guy at the end of the last episode and, beats him up, keeps him from robbing a store. And so then she goes to work on her powers in this junkyard, realizing that it's her breathing that controls when she, hits things stronger. And so she videotapes herself doing it, goes to some sort of, like, bookstore, and then there's this Asian girl there that apparently reads comics, and I don't know, they just all of a sudden hit it off out of nowhere. And so the Asian girl, I think her name was Grace, invites her to this club where apparently people go cosplay and stuff like that. And so they go there, they're dancing all close and stuff, and then her girlfriend shows up, Nissa's girlfriend shows up, and then ends things. And I'm just like, okay, I don't care. When you're focusing on the superhero stuff with Anissa, it's interesting. When you start focusing on, oh, her love life, and oh, she's with this girl, but then, maybe with this girl, I don't care about that at all. So why focus on it? Unless this might be leading somewhere, just maybe. But for right now, it just kind of feels like this random thing you've thrown in, once again, to just make her a character by giving her a homosexual relationship. It's like, oh, now she's unique, now she stands out. And like, yeah, like all the other unique homosexual characters on every other show. So that's about it for the two sisters. they all end up at the march at the end of the episode. But on to a bit more Black Lightning stuff. We see he's trying to figure out how to stop the Reverend, and on top of that, his partner, I want to say his name is Peter. I believe I've seen it a couple times on IMDb. I don't know if they have said it. They've only said it like a few times. They haven't said it a whole lot. But anyway, he goes to talk to him, and I'm not gonna lie, he's pretty funny. I thought he was just gonna be this kind of old curmudgeonly, guy that's gonna help out and just like, all right, I'll support you, but I don't. But no, he's actually like, he's very clever. He thinks on his feet very well. There's this one scene where they're talking about the march and talking about the, what are the bad guys gonna try to do, and so he's just like, okay, he's probably gonna go for the Reverend, but that's not what I would do. And Jefferson's just like, I hate it when you do this worst case scenario, and he's like, if I were the 100. I would attack everybody in the crowd and spread fear instead of making a martyr. And I'm just like, that is a very good point. And I don't know, I'm glad that we're getting to see a bit more of him, because he seems like he's a very clever guy. It seems like he knows kind of how bad guys think and is able to sort of help Black Lightning in this whenever he goes out on a mission. So I'm hoping to see a bit more of him, mainly because I want to see more Black Lightning as well. But yeah, he ends up showing up at the march and stopping the guy that was going to shoot everybody, and then also has to shoot another guy because I guess there was another guy working for Tobias in the crowd. But then Tobias pulls up in a car as they're singing Amazing Grace, and he's like, man, are they singing? Ah, they are singing. This scene is just, I don't know, it felt, all I could think was, and then they'll sing and sing, 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 sing. I'm just like, what are you, the Grinch? Like, it's like he's having an inner monologue to himself. Oh, are they singing? They are singing. I hate it when they sing. And I'm just like, what is he doing? But then he tells the girl next to him, he's like, all right, shoot the electrified man. And then she shoots the Reverend. I'm like, Black Lightning, electrified man? No, the Reverend was the other? I'm confused. But then, of course, he survives. Khalil survives, but is now paralyzed from the waist down. I'm just like, okay, kill the electrified man. She doesn't kill anybody. She misses both of them. I'm just like, okay, is this girl not as good as I thought she was gonna be? I don't know. I felt kind of like this girl, whoever she is, she's very mysterious. She doesn't talk, and even whenever Tobias goes to visit this one lady, it kind of felt like a throwaway scene. Her name is Eve. I don't know. I guess they're kind of like rival bosses of their own gang or something like that. But she's like, send the girl with a death in her eyes to go kill somebody. I'm just like, oh, okay, so this girl is probably very deadly. And then when she shoots the Reverend, I'm like, oh, Reverend's dead. And then Khalil drops, I'm like, oh, he might be dead too. They both survive. Good job, assassin. I know whenever I hire an assassin to my evil organization, I want her to severely wound somebody but not kill them. Good on you. So yeah, I mean, that's about it for this episode. Overall, it's gotten a bit better, but there are still some problems. But I'm going to try this. So I'm going to pause, and then I'm going to come back and talk about the 4th episode. I'm going to see how this works, but I'll see you guys in just a bit. And we're back. So it's looking at episode 4 now, Black Jesus. Things, I guess, get a little bit more off the track now that we're starting to get into the season and actually get into the main story. So we're starting to see where all of this is sort of leading to. We're starting to meet new characters that I think are probably going to play into the season a bit more. But anyway, the main focus for this episode is more around Black Lightning and what he means to the community, what he means to certain people. So first I'll talk about the stuff kind of on the outside of it, which is mainly about Anissa. She goes to that club that Grace works at, or I don't remember if it was a club or a bar. But yeah, so she's talking to her afterwards, and she just had a scene with her mother where her mom's like, what's wrong? And she's like, oh, I broke up with my girlfriend. She's like, okay, I know that's not the reason. What's really wrong with you? And she doesn't tell her anything. She's like, there are certain things I wish I could tell my parents. And Grace is like, oh, well, I'm bi, right? And I'm like, of course she is, because that's your character now. You're a bi person, so you're now a character because you have something that the writers for some reason thinks that defines you. It doesn't actually give you a character. you have to have something about you and your personality, the stuff you like, the stuff you enjoy to do, the stuff you want to talk about. What are your hobbies? What things do you like to do whenever you're off of work? Talk about personality stuff, not just, oh, I like boys and girls, so now I'm a person. There's so much more to people than that. Stop thinking that makes a character. But anyway, so she's talking to Grace, and all of a sudden these guys show up. And fun fact, I actually know the main guy, the bald guy that went up to him and was like talking to him and like talking about beating him up. I actually know that guy personally. Like I work with the dinner theater company, and he's also a part of that. So it's good to see him in the episode. He did a pretty good job of being a prick and then getting tossed over a car. So that was pretty funny. But anyway, but yeah, so he has these guys with them, and apparently he just wants to like burn down the club because I don't know, just random shows up and is threatening. And then Anissa, of course, is like, all right, I got this. So then she does her little breathing thing, which I'll admit, I didn't talk about this in the last episode, but I'll admit the breathing thing is a little bit strange. Like, I don't know, the way she does it is so over the top that it's almost kind of goofy. She's like, and then, I'm just like, can't there be a better way? Like, maybe not, it just sounds like you're dying. But anyway, so she beats him up, and then all of a sudden she starts like stomping the ground really hard to toss him everywhere. And Black Lightning, who's at this sort of like shipping yard, he hears that and goes to look into it, but then Peter's like, no, it's okay. I don't see anything over there now, even though he just saw somebody doing something. And so then he goes over there in his car with a shotgun and starts taking pictures of what's going on. I don't know what's going on with Peter right now. I talked about how I do enjoy his character. I think he's funny and very clever. But we see at the end of the last episode, he deletes a picture of Tobias on the cameras, and now he sees Anissa doing her thing. I don't know if he saw that it was Anissa or not, but then doesn't tell Black Lightning about it, and then goes there himself without telling him. And I'm just like, why are you keeping secrets? What is going on with him? Why is he doing this? So I hope we get into that a bit more soon, because it's just kind of like all the secret keeping is not something I enjoy. But yeah, Anissa's side of it, we see the last scene with her is she's in bed with Grace, and she's like caring for her. She's like, if I had the ability to stop these people and, get some payback, that would be a good thing, right? And Grace is like, yeah, it would be. So clearly she's about to start on her own little vigilante justice type of thing. But we also see in this episode this drug called green light, which makes this one kid just go absolutely crazy. It kind of reminds me of Venom from Batman. Whenever Bane gets the venom in him, he like goes crazy and just loses his mind, but gets super strong as well. So that's what it kind of reminded me of. Like this kid takes some of these drugs and all of a sudden is super strong, super crazy, and just like picks up a what's it called, a urinal, and chunks it at him. And so that's kind of the story for most of this. We see him going to try to find out more about it. That's why he's at the shipping yard, but doesn't really find anything out about it for some reason. There's another guy that sort of deals with green light. He goes there as Jefferson because he knows the guy, but the guy doesn't give him any information, so then he goes as Black Lightning, and then the guy gives up some more information about it. Just a random scene that pops into this, though. Like, he's sitting there beating everybody up, and she's like, okay, I know how this works, and then, asks him, look, I can't go back to jail, that would be my final strike, they'll kill me. He's like, alright, I won't call the cops if you tell me what's going on. He's like, alright, before you knock him out, can I get a selfie? And then goes to take a picture. He's like, what? No! Bam! Just knocks him out. I don't know. It was actually a very funny scene. So the humor has kind of been hit and miss in this show so far. That was actually a genuinely funny scene, though. But he's using this information to try to get closer to green light, and just hasn't really been able to, I don't think, by the end of it, figure out enough about it. We also see on the other side of it, Tobias has brought in this woman, and she's like, so when are we going to kill Black Lightning? And he's talking to her about, I'm going to be the one to do it. It's got to be me. He also talked to a guy at the beginning of this episode who apparently was supposed to confirm the body, but didn't. And so he obviously offs that guy off. There was a scene between him and this Eve woman. Still not sure what she's doing, but she was like digging into a body that was dead and then all of a sudden wakes up. I don't know. It kind of felt like a scene that's just like, oh, look, guys, she's disturbing. See, she's doing something disturbing. So she's a disturbing she's the bad guy. Of course she's disturbing. It kind of felt like just sort of piling on the fact that, ooh, she's evil, unless that person on the table was somebody we're supposed to know. I couldn't tell. They look kind of weird because they were dead. Anyway, but we see that when Tobias is talking to this woman that he brings in, she called him Big Brother. I don't know if they're actually related or not. Probably not, just because he's white and she's black, unless they had like black and white parents. But she's saying that, you know, we need to try to turn the people against Black Lightning, and so they're going to use Khalil to do it, because we see he's in the hospital. He's talking with some hope, like, hey, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna go run at the Olympics. Jennifer, just once again, playing into the cliche of that independent, I don't need anybody, I'm going to do my own thing and nobody can tell me what to do type of character. Because she's like, I don't want to run track anymore. The only reason I did it was to make you happy, Dad, so I'm done. I'm quitting. Just like, cliche checkbox number 100 out of 4 episodes. But she goes to talk to him. She's like, I just quit track, and you could tell he's kind of pissed about it. And then when he says that, she looks pissed about that. So I don't know. It's almost like it's like she doesn't like him anymore because he still wants to run track, and he doesn't like the fact that she doesn't want. I don't know. This relationship started up randomly in the 2nd episode. Now we're in the 4th episode, and I already feel like we've gone on way too long about it. It just needs to already end, and I shouldn't feel like that after 3 episodes. So it's getting way too much focus, but we see, thankfully, it does have a bit of a purpose, because Jefferson comes in with Khalil's mom, and he just said that somebody's been sending him donations, and I'm just like, okay, Tobias has obviously been the one doing it, because he had been talking about how he hates Black Lightning. He just doesn't know it yet. And so when Jefferson comes in and tells him that his spine is completely severed, he'll never walk again, I can kind of see how they're setting up that, okay, now he's in kind of the deepest pits of despair. And sure enough, Tobias shows up late one night, and is just like, yeah, Black Lightning hurt me too, but I can show you how to get past that pain. So clearly he's got some sort of plan to convince Khalil that Black Lightning is the one responsible. I hope it's not just like something where in the next episode all of a sudden he's just like, yeah, Black Lightning is the reason behind all this. I hope we actually get to see him at first say, no, like, it's not his fault. He tried to save me. It was unlucky. And then over time, you know, as he starts to realize his life falls apart a little bit, maybe he'll step in, Tobias will step in, and that's when he starts to work his ways. You know, he's already sent all of these little presents, and now he's paying off his mom's rent, and I'm just like, okay, so he's laying the foundation, but it shouldn't just be this one meeting, and now Khalil, now he hates Black Lightning. It should be over time he starts to work it, because, you know, for this community, Black Lightning is pretty much their hero, and so for one person in this community to all of a sudden hate him after one incident that wasn't even really his fault, I think that would be way too easy to turn him. So I hope that it does show Khalil slowly getting broken down before eventually he turns to, yeah, Black Lightning is the one that did this to me. But we'll see how that goes. The only other thing to talk about really, though, is this kid in the bathroom. His story kind of plays into it as well, because, of course, the board of the school wants him expelled, but Jefferson's like, no, I can't have that. You know, I want to stand up for this kid, and I'm the one who finalizes all the decisions. The board steps in and says, okay, look, we want him expelled, and we're taking over the decisions from now on, because this isn't right. And finally, they kind of come to an agreement where they'll take over the decisions on severe infractions from now on, but, you know, he'll get to stay in school and get to go to college and graduate and stuff. I kind of feel like this, I guess maybe the assistant principal that the woman that Jefferson's been talking to, I feel like she had something to do with this, because at one point she's just like very upset that Jefferson is like, no, we're not expelling this kid. So I feel like she went to the board to talk to them, and it's just like, look, he's not budging on this. We need to do this. We need to get him out of the position of power, or else he's just going to let this go. And it just seems like she's way too happy whenever she comes in at the end. She's like, hey, great news. So the kid's not going to be expelled, but you won't be in charge from now on. And she's just like, big grin. I'm just like, you are way too happy about this. Like, you realize he's not going to be happy, right? So I don't know. I feel like she's probably got something to do with this, but it's not that important. What is important, though, is we do see this is another thing that's affecting Jefferson in all of this. Because he's already got all this stuff going on with Black Lightning, and is he really helping people? You know, Henderson, they have a dinner with Henderson's family Inspector Henderson, and he's talking about how Black Lightning isn't really helping people because they're getting indirectly hurt by what he's doing. And so now this is just another thing piled on top of it. But the one thing that did piss me off, once again, the ex-wife. He calls her after all of this is said and done, trying to look for some help. He's just like, look, I haven't really had this much trouble before with the collateral damage, between the Reverend and Khalil getting hurt. It's just really tough for me right now. She's like, yeah, okay, but I'm kind of busy right now, so I'm going to call you back later. Bye. I'm just like, what the hell? Like, hello? And then at the end of it, she calls him and leaves him a message. She's like, look, this whole Black Lightning thing has just made me very emotional, and I can't stand the fact that you're doing this. And he's got like a little smile on him, like, dude, once again, she is so freaking selfish. Get her out of your life. Like, you don't need somebody in your life like that who's just gonna, oh, it's all about me. Oh, I'm too busy right now for you, so bye. And then she calls him back, oh, hey, sorry, I'm just so upset by all of this. Who cares how you feel? I'm the one upset. But stop making it about you. And that's the weird thing about it, is it feels like Jefferson wants to still be with her. I'm just like, why would you want to be in a relationship where the other person makes it all about them? It's supposed to be a mutual thing. That is what a relationship is. It's about the two of you. I don't know. I mean, I hate relationship stuff in superhero shows in the first place, for the most part. They're hardly ever done well, but this one, it just feels like they're trying to force them back together with the writing, and it makes it feel like, oh, Jefferson loves her so much, and oh, he's willing to do anything for her. And I don't see why. I don't see why he's willing to put himself through all this torturous stuff going on just to try to win her back. I don't get it. So, yeah, that's it over these 2 episodes. Hopefully this works out well with the cutoff in between. Obviously, it's a bit longer because I do actually remember everything about the episode before talking about it. So it is sort of nice to have that sort of clarity instead of going into a 2-episode review and it's like, okay, try to remember what I watched from the first one and then try to remember what I watched from the second one. And hopefully this works out a bit better where I can actually, okay, talk about the first one, pause, talk about the second one, and then actually be able to deal with it a bit better. Don't know how it's going to work whenever it comes to like multi-episodes, like more than 2, but we'll deal with that as we come. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 2 episodes? What are your thoughts on how I did this? Let me know. We can talk about it and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Black Lightning reviews. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.